Well, hello, it's Helena from Helena's Trini Kitchen. Today I'm going to make for you a stir-fried asparagus, pound plantains and sweet potatoes with garlic, and seared fish in wine sauce. I've put out all the ingredients on the countertop so you can see what I'll be using. So right on the left, there's wahoo and tuna, which is given to me by my next door neighbor, Eric. He's wonderful. He goes deep sea fishing and provides that all the time to me. Sweet potatoes, plantains, tomatoes, garlic, apples, celery, asparagus, bell peppers, baking powder, salt, Cajun spice, Mrs. Dash, and milk. So let's start prepping. The first thing I'm going to do is slice up that fish, wash it with lime or lemon, water, and drain it so that it's dry, and then put the marinade on it. So I've washed the plantain, cut off the edges, and now I'm going to cut them in two and put them in the pot with water and salt and put it on the stove to boil. When it's finished cooking, you will see them popping out of the skin, and I'll show you that once the process is done. When you're doing any kind of potatoes, you should have a pot with water, a bowl with water to put it in, because it will get brown, so you want them to remain, the color that they're supposed to be. So I've peeled them, so you go ahead and cut that up like you would a potato. Regular potato, and you put it in the water with salt to boil. So whatever size you choose to cut it up, make sure that it's uniform, because you want it to cook all at the same time so that some of it doesn't melt and some of it is half cooked, okay? 2 heads of garlic, and I've put them in the prep bowl, and I'm going to coarsely ground them and then put them in the pot with the sweet potatoes to boil. Pot with the plantain, and then the pot with the sweet potatoes and the garlic, both salted, are on the fire on a medium-high heat to come to a quick boil, and then I'll lower it to medium. The plantain is finished boiling. I took it off the fire, and you see how it's split open? So now I'm going to drain it, peel it, and take out the seeds from the middle of it. So what I do is I use a mitt with paper towel on top of it so that I can take off the skin and cut it in half. And then I just dump it into this bowl, and then it'll be all cooled off by the time I'm a little bit enough so that I can take out the seeds out of the middle of it. So the potatoes with the garlic is also finished cooking, so I've drained those and I've set it on top of a pot with a colander in it to completely drain all the water out of it. Here's where your paring knife comes in. So you're going to just cut along in the middle and take out the seeds like so, okay? Make sure you get all the seeds, and then you drop it back into the bowl. The sweet potatoes with garlic has been boiled. The plantain has been deseeded, and now we're gonna mash. I'm going to pour olive oil on it. That'll be my fat, okay? Be very generous with it. And then I'm going to add a little bit of baking powder that's right here to make it light once I'm done. So I've mashed the potatoes and the plantain, and it's not as garlicky as I'd like it. So I'm going to add a little bit more granulated garlic so that I can get it a little bit more savory. I want to taste the garlic in this dish. So I'm going to mix that up. It's still warm, by the way, and that's when you want to mash this, when it is warm. I'm going to add not a lot of milk, even though I have a cup, maybe a quarter of a cup, just to combine everything together. because I want it not so heavy. I want it lighter than it is. So since it's mashed already, I really don't need the potato masher anymore. But I do want a tiny little bit more milk. So all total, I think I've used maybe 1/4 cup of the milk that I had sitting out. Not much, just enough so that when I add the baking powder, it'll make it nice and light. Okay, so I'm gonna put in about a spoonful of baking powder, and I'm gonna mix that up. Combine that really well. And since it's warm, you will feel the lightness as you're combining it. Okay? Back to my kitchen. So the plantains and sweet potatoes with garlic is done. And here it is. I hope you enjoy it and that it tastes just as good as it does in my kitchen. Welcome back to my kitchen, Helena's Trini kitchen. Today I've made for you stir-fried asparagus with apples, and I've opted to put the apples separately and the asparagus separately over here. And I've garnished it with the toasted garlic, sliced garlic. Next, I made for you pound plantain and sweet potatoes with garlic, with olive oil and a little bit of milk, like 1/4 cup of low-fat milk, which is actually very healthy, by the way. There's no butter in that. And next, I made for you seared wahoo and ono in a wine sauce. And here's the plating. I hope you enjoyed this meal and preparing it and seeing how easy it is to make a meal look beautiful. Bon appetit.